Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and the MB.03 has officially been unveiled. So of course Lamelo Ball's third signature shoe with Puma. And also we have some pictures of Trae Young's new signature shoe, the Trae Young 3. And also there is some leaks of, Puma signed Scoot, and apparently this is the Scoot 1. So yeah, I don't know, like you're not even in the NBA and companies are giving you signature shoes, I guess, nowadays, right? You know, Puma's doing pretty damn good. A lot of their shoes I feel like are very similar, you know what I mean? So like all their performance basketball shoes feel very similar to me. Like the Stewies, Lamelo Balls, the MBs, you know, the Court Riders and stuff like that. I do miss the Clydes, you know, the Clyde Pros. But a lot of them, like, they felt very similar in design, like how they played and stuff like that. So hopefully they start changing up how it feels, you know what I mean? Just because the materials are very similar. They're all using pretty much like nitro foam. They're all like on the heavier side of things and stuff like that. So I wish they would change it up a little bit, but overall they've been performing very well, right? So yeah, the Scoots, this is the only picture we have, and it looks pretty similar to the MB.03 a little bit, with the outsole coming up a little bit on the lateral side, especially in the forefoot, and then the heel looks very exposed, you know, probably nitro foam, you know what I mean? But I do like how it's exposed. Remember in like the MB1s, where it was super caged, look at that, you know, the MB1 was super caged. The MB2, however, was a little bit less caged, which felt a little bit better. Just in my personal opinion, I like to have a little bit more compression in the heel as opposed to the MB1, which was really caged here on the lateral side. So that's good for the Scoots. And then the material just looks like it looks very cheap, especially with that like nubuck material in the forefoot. And it also looks to be like a mesh material, right? With a lot of overlays, especially with that with the Puma logo on the lateral side, and also looks to be like a mid/low, just like in the MB1 and the MB2. So yeah, like I said, the overall design looks very similar as well. And then for the MB.03, so this actually looks pretty good. You know, the I would say the MB1 looks the best in my personal opinion. The MB2s look pretty damn good with the colorways. I feel like they did a really good job with the colorways, but the overall design, I feel like the MB1 looks a little bit better. They released that, there's like an off-white colorway. I really like that one, and also the jade colorway looks super sick. The Rick and Morty's look super sick. So they just released so many dope colorways. This colorway I'm not a huge fan of for the MB3, and apparently it's coming out on the 29th of this month. And then from the outsole, we can see it says rare, right? And it's pretty interesting just because most of the colorways in the MB1 and the MB2 were translucent outsoles, right? But in this colorway of the MB3, it looks like a solid rubber outsole, which is pretty interesting. But also it says rare, right? In the first one, right, it said rare, but it was underneath the translucent. And same thing with the MB2, right? But the MB3, it just says rare on the outsole, all right? And you have to put both of the shoes together to read that. If it's just the right shoe, it's just raw. And then if it's the left shoe, it's right? It's just a very chaotic pattern. It kind of reminds me of like a psychedelic pattern a little bit. And the grooves look pretty thin, you know what I mean? So, I mean, the MB2 was super duper thin and did not seem durable really at all. The MB1 seemed a lot more durable just because the rubber was super duper hard. So we'll have to see on the durability of the MB3. And also there's two little slits in the heel on the outsole, which is kind of weird. I don't know what that's for. But yeah, there is the outsole, and then for the cushion, as we can see on the lateral side, it is caged a little bit in the midfoot and also in the heel a little bit, and also kind of drifts upward, which I do like. It looks pretty cool. It's kind of like how like a shoe is stepping or jumping into a puddle of water or something, or maybe even slime, and then it like kind of comes up like that. That's what it kind of reminds me of. It looks pretty cool. And then for the foam also has the same design as the outsole, like especially on the lateral side here. And there seems to be a line pattern going throughout the rest of the midsole from the midfoot to the forefoot, and it is pretty exposed. You know, I would say in the back of the heel, it's a little bit more like caged from the rubber outsole, but on the lateral side, probably on the medial side as well, it's it looks like, oh no, on the medial side it's fully exposed, right? But in the back of the heel it's super duper caged, as you guys can see. And then also in the heel area right here, there seems to be a good amount of padding, like on the outside of the upper. And then for the rest of the upper, it looks like a textile or a mesh upper, but there seems to be another overlay, right? And it looks like it's like a fused material, but it also looks kind of thick. And then around some of the like cutouts, like especially on the lateral side, it's stitched to the upper, which is pretty interesting. And also there is a good amount of fuse, especially here in the tip of the toe, which has been present from the 1 to the 2, you know what I mean? And probably it'll have a very plush tongue, which I do like about the MBs. You know, I like a very plush tongue, and also plush ankle area feels very comfortable. And it says not from here. We can see Melo's tattoo here on the tongue as well. It says number 1, and also on top of the tongue it says 1 of 1. And we have some on-foot pictures of the shoe as well. Shout out to Rue Kicks. And yeah, it looks pretty dope, honestly. They'll probably release some really dope colorways, probably, right? And what do you guys think? What looks better, the MB1, the MB2, or the MB3? And I'm also waiting for the MB2 lows. We have seen some leaks of the MB2 lows, but it'll probably perform just like the MB2, you know what I mean? It's just a low version. Hopefully there's no heel slippage, however. That's what I felt in the MB1. You know, this, I didn't really have any heel slippage, but in the lows I had a good amount, right? But yeah, tell us your thoughts on the MB3. And also now moving on to the Trae Young 3, right? So the Trae Youngs, we have a little picture of the outsole, right? And it's, I believe this is a heel. And yeah, first of all, I don't really know about the cutout, you know what I mean? Remember the cutout? I don't know why you would put that there. Well, why is that there? Just because you want as much contact with the ground on the outsole, you know what I mean? If you have less contact, like you put a big ass hole here, it's not gonna have as much surface area to stop, you know what I mean? So I don't know why that's there, especially in the forefoot. There's 2 cutouts as well, which is, I don't know why you would do that, but also the grooves look super duper thin. You know, it's a herringbone traction pattern, but it looks super thin, so it doesn't look very durable. Hopefully, you know, it has good traction. The Trae Young 2 wasn't very good. The Trae Young 1 was nice, but did pick up dust. Where are my Trae Youngs, right? So yeah, the Trae Young 1, the translucent for me was not as good. The solid rubber was way better, especially on dust. And then the Trae Young 2, it wasn't very good for traction, you know what I mean? And then for the cushion, so the cushion, the midsole is inspired by the Adilet, like these slides, right? And it looks really, really dope. We still don't know what the foam is though. I've been trying to look, and it doesn't really say anything on the shoe, you know, as far as it's saying like light strike or bounce or whatever. But I really do like that design. It looks great. And then in the heel area, we can see, you know, a plastic piece, right? And this part kind of reminds me of the Exhibit A's, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's just an external heel counter. I don't really think you needed it because it looks like the midsole comes up acting as a sidewall and acting as a support counter and stuff like that. So you probably didn't need all of that, but you know, I guess for extra support. And then it's something else that I noticed is, I don't know why, but Trae Young, I guess, really doesn't like eyelets, because it looks like there's what, 4 eyelets? There's 4 eyelets, guys. That's crazy. And remember the Trae Young 1 with the 2 eyelets? So if this shoe didn't fit you well, then it's just like, you can't do anything. You can't really tighten the shoe. Same thing with the Trae Young 2. I mean, there's a good amount more eyelets, but it's still, look at that. It's just here in the midfoot. So I guess the Trae Young 3, it covers a little bit more area in the midfoot. It looks a little bit more spaced out as well. And it looks to have like flywire cables, you know what I mean? So hopefully they don't snap. But it looks to be a little bit better for lockdown compared to the Trae Young 1 and the 2, but still doesn't look great, right? And we got the 3 stripes, Adidas logo on the lateral side of the shoe, and also the material looks super nice and comfortable. It looks like a knit material. And also we have a little bit of fuse. You see a little bit of fuse on the lateral side, probably for a little bit more support for lateral containment. The tongue looks not well padded at all, you know what I mean? And it's weird because I guess Trae Young doesn't like tongues, but yeah, the 1 and 2 didn't have tongues. They were 1 booty uppers. But the 3 looks to have a little bit more of a traditional design, you know, just a regular tongue. So yeah, there is the Trae Young 3. This colorway looks super duper sick, you know. I think Trae Young's with his son and also his dad. But yeah, this colorway looks pretty damn sick, and the shoe looks overall really, really good. I feel like it looks the best so far in his entire shoe line. But anyways, that about wraps it up for the Trae Young 3 and also the MB3. But that about wraps it up. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.